Hello boys and girls, so here are the things you are going to need for If the Dinosaurs Came Back, the art project. So we did our backgrounds or our cityscape last week. You're going to need that. I'm just going to set that aside for right now because I don't need it right this second. I'm going to need those 3 colored papers that were attached to that white paper. I'm going to need something to color with, but not right now. I'm going to need scissors, glue, and something to draw with. Now remember, Miss LaRock always uses a marker just because it is easier for you to see my lines. So we're going to be creating our dinosaurs on these papers. Now remember, our dinosaurs are going to be made from free-form shapes. Free-form shapes are shapes that don't really have names because they're not always predictable. So we are going to be using our geometric shapes that we talked about, shapes that do have names like squares or circles, and we're going to be stacking them like they're building blocks to create our dinosaurs. And then when we cut out around those shapes, they will turn into dinosaurs. So I'm going to show you 2 different types of dinosaurs to draw. You can make them any color that you want, and I gave you an extra one in case you make a mistake and you want to try again, because this can get a little tricky. So if you make a mistake, or if you want to add a 3rd dinosaur of your own creation. So pick whatever 2 colors you want to start off. I'm going to pick the blue and the yellow just because it might be a little bit easier to see than on the purple paper. So get out your drawing material. And we're going to start off by drawing this kind of a dinosaur. So that's more of like a Stegosaurus maybe. So I'm going to start about here for my head. My head is going to be, well, let's start with the body. The body is like a half circle, okay? So I want to make sure I use a lot of my paper. I don't want itty bitty tiny dinosaurs because you want them to look like they're traveling through the city, okay? So you're going to have big dinosaurs. So my first shape I'm going to draw is about a half of a circle. So I'm going to start with a flat line, cross, and I'm going to connect it with a U shape. Great job. Now I need to add my neck and my head, so make sure you have enough room for it. I'm going to do 2 diagonal lines up. It's almost like a rectangle for my head. And a circle. Okay. I'm going to add a pointed tail like that. And I'm going to add some spikes that would be triangles. On the bottom, my legs are going to be rectangles that come out of that shape. So I have 2 like this. Then I have one that comes actually tucked behind. It's like a backwards L, and this one would be that's a forward L, and that's a backwards L, because this leg is on top of that one. Okay, so when I go to cut this out, it is going to look like a free-form shape. The outside shape is going to be the free-form. So I can add an eye and a smile if I want. And then I can go ahead and cut him out. So this is where the free-form shape comes from. It's going to be tricky, so I hope you didn't make too many spikes. If you're not perfectly on your lines, that's okay for this project. I'm holding my scissors and I'm turning my paper. My scissors stay straight, but I use my other hand to turn my paper. Now look at, here's my dinosaur that's made from geometric shapes, but it makes a freeform shape, because if I were to flip this over and you don't see any of the lines, you would not be able to tell me the name of that shape. It is a freeform shape. So that's one dinosaur. I'm going to set him aside. Pick your other color, and let's draw a pterodactyl. So for my pterodactyl, I'm going to start with his belly. His belly is going to be a circle. From there, I'm going to do 2 lines up for his neck. And his head is a triangle shape. So I'm actually going to go this way first. That's where his pointed beak will be. I'm going to go up like this and connect back down. That's his head. So his eyes would be like right here. His little beak mouth would be there. Now his wings are 2 triangle shapes that come out of your circle. So I'm going to go out, I'm going to point up, and I'm going to come back down. There's 1 triangle. Do the same on the other side. Out, come up, and come back down to that circle. From there you can add your little feet. So I just do 2 lines down and 3 little lines out. There you go. Now, when I cut this out, it is going to be my free form shape. You can kind of leave some, you notice I'm not perfectly cutting on that line. That's okay, I'm going around it to kind of give him a different shape. And then when I get to his feet, I can just make a shape around it. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So watch this. I'm getting to his feet, so I don't need to cut them all out. I'm just going to go around them and cut it out like that. So see how I didn't cut every little line out? Wonderful. Now for your other paper, you can create whatever dinosaur you'd like. I'll leave some examples for you in our PowerPoint, but you can create whichever one you like. So from here, we're going to glue on our dinosaur. So our feet need to touch the ground. That's down here. And then our flying one can go anywhere. He doesn't need to be on the ground like that. He can be flying over some buildings. So I'm going to have him up there and this guy down here. So I take my handy dandy glue. If you're using a glue stick, make sure you get all of your little edges. If you are using liquid glue, please say ... not a lot. That will help us from using too much sticky glue and ruining our artwork. So again, flip this over, get all your edges. Whoops, I bent his head. All those little areas. And I ripped his leg. That's okay. Can glue it back together. That's what glue is for. And I give him a nice massage down to make sure all my ends are sticking down. And voila! Your artwork is done! Great job, my friends, and I will see you next week.